Hey,
Hello. See if we could get a few other people to join if there's more interest.
sure. Should we ping Alessio and Henry in case they are still
Oh,
around?
yeah. Ping everyone. Probably an easier way to do that, but oops.
Is that a turtle or a dinosaur in your t-shirt?
It's a dinosaur. All right, I'm letting the on-call know that I'll be starting here shortly. Okay. Okay, so I think we've got enough people to go ahead and get started. I see the recording is recording, so let's go ahead and get started. I notified the on-call. Let's see. Just to validate our pre-change steps, we have the first item already checked, which I believe, Alessio, you did earlier today, but just to validate, yeah, just want to make sure things are still canceled. Yeah, the post-deploy is still canceled. Ensure there are no ongoing deployments. There is no ongoing deployment. This was our
just a
ongoing
note,
deployment.
I didn't change the pipeline, so I suppose this is the pipeline for last week. In the first step, there's a link to the pipeline. So...
No, I did it. It is.
Oh, you did it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm updating the steps.
Thank you, Myra.
Okay, so there are no ongoing deployments. I'll go ahead and proceed to do the check command. I posted that in F upcoming releases, maybe not the best. I've already notified Nels, who's the SRE on call. So now I will find the package to roll back to. I'm going to follow our documentation. The rollback check command, which I already ran, copy and pass to the deploy command in the next step. Let's see, our current is FA1DD. Which is not what we were deploying to. Upcoming is the one we were deploying, so...
Yeah, I think there is a bug in the check command. Because there is providing you a rollback command, but in this situation when there is an ongoing deployment, this command is not correct. So,
okay, so that makes sense.
I can take a note of this, but then I will probably drop in a few minutes. So I'll take a note about this problem in the agenda.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, take a note. So technically, the rollback command, we really wanted to state that we want to roll back to what's currently listed as current. So the FA1DD, which I need to find the rest of that package name for. So to do that, I'm just going to look at our announcements channel to figure out what that is supposed to be.
There are some manual steps on the documentation too.
Ooh,
that you
perfect.
can follow. Yeah.
Replace the SHA of the deploy rollback above example link in your browser. Oh, I guess I should be like sharing my screen. I'm sorry, I'm a horrible person. So let me get the. I said we want to roll back to FA1, correct? 0 FA is what we are currently deploying to. FA1 is what I want to go backwards to. So in here. So we have, this is our package that we want to roll back to. And then if I go back to our steps, where did our steps go? We want to replace the plus with the hyphen. So we have our package, replace the plus with the hyphen. And we want to do a rollback. So I want to roll back to that package. And I'm pretty sure we said inside of our procedure that I need to have the, oh, I'm not following our own directions. My apologies. So I found the package that we want to roll back to. Write down the package we want to roll back to. Will do. It's going to be this one. Okay, copy and paste.
Can I ask a question, or is it?
Please, please.
How do we check if there is a current deployment now or not? What's the command for that? Is it from chatops?
Chatops run auto deploy status will give us that information.
Okay, thank you.
No, I would
I guess
not tell. No, I mean, I think Ken was asking if there is an ongoing deployment, and auto deploy status would not tell you. So
Okay.
Oh, I thought it did.
Yeah, it is going to do it. It is going to, only for production. It is going to say you cannot deploy to production because the production deployment is locked because there is an ongoing production deployment.
But in this case, it will tell that there is an ongoing deployment, but we know that there is not. So it's not, that's kind of this. That check tells you if there is an environment lock, not if there is an ongoing deployment. It's kind of the same thing, but it's not.
Yeah, so it's just I guess a language thing. Like from a technical standpoint, a deploy is still ongoing. We just paused it for the purposes of this test. But inside of G delivery, I just ran the auto deploy status. It tells us there's an ongoing deployment, and that's because we haven't finished the production deployment that is supposed to be rolling out. And sure enough, our last statement is the production environment is locked, and that it's locked because we didn't finish our last deployment. So I would answer yes to that question, but for the purposes of us in this experiment, we paused the deploy to roll out, so we're safe to proceed.
Okay.
Before we drain
that-
Canary, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, just a question. Before we drain Canary, should we check that we don't have any deployment ongoing on Canary?
That's a good thought. Sorry, meeting. The last deployment to Canary finished at 9:24 a.m. my time. Oh, 13:24. I guess just to be super sure, I'll just go to all pipelines and make sure there's nothing running. If there's one for staging running, I don't care about it, but for any other environment, I would care.
I wonder if we need some sort of command to tell us simply that if we have a deployment ongoing for each of our environments. I'm not sure if that is an overkill or if doing it manually is okay for now.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one.
I think it would be nice to have that kind of stuff
Yeah,
instead of
I would
checking
agree.
pipelines, like, you know.
Okay, I
Like
have to
in my
drop
case,
off.
I'm looking at the announcements channel. Bye, Alessio.
Enjoy, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Myra, would you be willing to take over as note taker?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. All right, I'll proceed to drain Canary. I'll notify the SRE on call just in case Nels didn't see me. Because he didn't respond to my message, so. Okay, so I'll proceed to drain Canary.
And
I'm running this in the production channel for anyone who's following me on Slack. I don't want to share my entire monitor because it's kind of big for a YouTube recording.
just a quick question. I was just looking at this run books rollback and deployment README, and the one that was open, and it didn't mention about draining Canary.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, we should definitely have that step in here.
Are you sure it's not near the? Yeah, you're right. It should be here, like
Yeah,
there.
it
Right?
should
I
be
thought we'd maybe put
right
it
around here.
somewhere. Yeah, that's true.
Maybe we have it somewhere else because I thought I've seen it before.
Yeah,
so
that's
maybe
what
we
I was
have it in
thinking as
some
well.
other. But this is our link to our run book, so there's a
And
chance
that's
that
the
maybe
bit that you're most likely running on production, right? So yeah,
Oh.
it should absolutely be there. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so chat ups finally got back to me. We are drained for Canary. So I'll proceed with our rollback. So chat ops run deploy our package. I want the rollback flag production and check because this is dry run. And I'm running this in F upcoming release. Is chat app slow today? There we go.
It's always pretty slow, I think.
Ensure the pipeline is running in dry run mode. The easiest way that I know to check that is we would have check mode set to true. And that would also be reflected in the output of our other jobs of this pipeline. Whoops, wrong link. There we go. So in our checks, we should see check mode true, which is just outputting the same thing as our variables here. So I'm bummed that we have to do a warm up, but it's unfortunate. So I'm confident that we're running in dry run mode. Check that the pipeline looks as expected. Giddily and perfect are manual steps, are they? I'm expecting to see a play button. Is the play button going to show up after we get through production finish?
Yes, I think it's a manual job, right? Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking I would see a play button already.
So the warm up is actually being executed. Doesn't matter if we are running in check mode.
Well, we need warm up because otherwise, well, do we need warm up?
If we are running in check mode, I will expect it to be this like to do nothing basically.
You are correct. It shouldn't do anything because this is dry run. Interesting. We did skip the warm up stage across the entire fleet. Yeah, so we're not dry running this task properly. But realistically, I don't know if we need to run this job at all during a rollback. The reason why we run this job is because we need to tell the servers to update their apt cache, because otherwise they won't know the package exists. Because we're rolling back, that database should already be populated with the package that we're going backwards to. So hypothetically, we don't need to run this job at all during a rollback, in my opinion. The only other benefit I could see us using this warm-up job is that we pre-download the packages prior to running the fleet during the deployment. So that speeds up the fleet job, which, you know, it's gonna cost us the same because one job will download it versus this one. So I think we could probably consider removing this job from a rollback. And then, yeah, that is not dry running properly either, which is not necessarily concerning to me, but we should probably try to address it because that's going to make this demo a lot longer than necessary. Before I check this off, I want to make sure I see play buttons. No assets job. I forget which stage had the assets job, but I don't see it. I think
I think it is combined with the migration one, right? Because we also don't have the migrations on this one.
Ah, that's right. That's right. So we don't see the assets job. This does not apply dry run on the GPRD checks job is expected because the shift role is locked by an unclear production environment. Oh yeah, that's right. This is what Alessia was talking about. GPRD checks, which we got past. Oh, running in check mode, so there's nothing triggered. That's why. Well, that's the promote. Yeah, so this is the task. We're now downloading the package on all of our servers again. Yeah, so because this passes, this is just doing a check to see if that package exists within the database. I don't think we need to run this. So we've just unnecessarily made our demo longer, in my opinion, but that's fine.
It's just a question. So what we're doing essentially is we are removing that existing package and installing the previous version of the package, right? Omnibus package. Are we doing that on the VM?
No, so this is a dry run. Our goal here is just to make sure that we have the ability to install the old package on the server.
Yeah, but the real one will be like that, the previous version, that way,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So do we remove all packages when we are doing the warm-up? I thought that we only install newest ones.
The apt cache clean job, which is one of the finishing tasks, this one, that's what technically removes the old package from the server. Since we're in dry run, I don't expect this to do anything. And considering the fact that the package is actively running and we haven't installed the older version, like this shouldn't do anything. But yeah, every deploy we clean out the apt cache because otherwise our servers would fill up on the disk space if we don't do that. So anything to talk about while we wait?
Can, how do you feel about maybe taking the action to open an MR and add in that canary drain state to the runbook? Do you want to have a shot?
Sure, sure.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. one other thing that's unrelated specifically to this dry run, but it's related to rollback. So just before joining here, I was doing a bit of an epic tidy up. So we're going to try and get the code, the pipeline for code rollback epic to be this, basically, and we can consider it complete when we've done a rollback in production and it's all gone well. So whatever our follow-up test after this is. And then I will move, we've got quite a lot of other issues which are all around improving information, like dashboarding, commands. There's all kind of lots of those pieces. I'm just going to move those up onto the assisted rollback epic. And that epic will be the thing that we use to take the rollback pipeline we have and sort of fill in the steps that we need to go to until we become, I suppose, confident. So it's filling in all the gaps that get us from here to the point where in the event of an incident, we automatically check, is there something that could be rolled back? If it is, we would roll it back. So all of the bits that go in between those two things. So I'll move some stuff around, but hopefully it means that we are quite close to having the code pipeline epic completed, which is very exciting. We just have the small, slightly tricky task of schedule, assuming this all goes as smoothly as we're expecting, slightly tricky task, schedule a rollback on production, which...
It's a happy problem, though.
It's a happy problem, exactly. It might be worth us, once we get to that stage, it might be worth us really carefully checking incidents, because we might get lucky and there'll be a suitable incident that we could just run a rollback on. And that would be by far the easiest way to test.
So you're suggesting that we test it live?
Well, we end up, once we've done this dry run test, we end up in an interesting problem, which is that in order to finish this task, we need to do a rollback on production. The problem that's really hard about scheduling the test rollback is we're taking a fully working system and potentially breaking it. But if we're in an incident, that risk is a little bit different because we're taking a broken system and potentially fixing it. So it kind of comes down to confidence, but I think it might be, in some ways it's less risky, right? If we actually have something that's broken already and we're trying to roll back to fix. The alternative is, I guess the other safer way is we set up the rollback package and we deploy just a very specific package that we roll back, which I think we should aim to do, but it's just, there's so much scheduling around that if we could get an incident and test it on an incident, that would be, it'd certainly be the easiest thing to do.
I think the type of incident matters. Like if it's an abuse problem, then rolling back doesn't apply. And in fact, that might actually make things worse because we're sitting here telling the service to go do some task unrelated to processing a user abuse request, you know? I'd be wary of that kind of style of rolling back at that point.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point.
The sooner we finish the migration to Kubernetes, the less we have to wait for this. That'd be great.
Nice. My guess is it's nearly finished. I think it's like a 16-minute job. That's my bet.
Yeah, the last one took 16 minutes to complete, so this one should be close to finish. Unless I jinx it already, so I hope not.
You just added 5 minutes. I feel like I've spent quite a lot of time watching this thing warm up.
Sidebar, I think it'd be pretty cool if we had like a a little informational panel that said, hey, your average runtime for this job is 16 minutes. You know, just
Yes.
give me a little arrow down that gives me some average or something. I don't know.
Yes.
That would require a lot of work, but
I'd love
Well,
to see that.
That is kind of the deployment SLO purpose, to have a breakdown per component, at least to have a target.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. That's kind of part of SLIs, right? I wonder if is there somewhere we could store them that we'd be able to pass them into that information? I guess we could put it at the top, right? Like at top of, as you start running a job, it could literally just print out like SLI, you know, number is averaging this.
well, currently what I do is ask Robert to provide me a chart, so it's stored in Slack.
I know, but Robert's charts are super amazing, and you have to ask nicely for them. But they will be part of the deployment SLO work.
So this is the job I suspect will get stuck. Which one is this one? Changelog. Oh, is it changelog or is it prepare?
No, I think it is prepare.
Okay, what does this job do? Oh, this one just validates we're not inside of any sort of PCL. Okay. I completely forgot that existed. Okay, so because we're in dry run, we didn't hit our blocker. It would have been this step, but it's currently set to false, which is would have blocked us. It would normally be set to true, but because it's in check mode, nothing happens. So that makes sense. So let's go back to our job, our pipeline, and we should be starting the fleet then. Yay. So GitLab.com help. Currently running 0FA, and we want to, that should say FA1 when all is said and done. I did not have to perform this work. This will be something that we will probably need to do inside of our run book, because otherwise we will hit this problem.
Yes. Yeah, there's like some extra checks, right, that we need to go through around deployments.
And these do, I do finally see the play buttons on there. So these are manual jobs. Okay.
Nice. I didn't know those didn't get set until the pipeline starts. Like, so I guess there's a point where it checks for those sorts of things as the pipeline kicks off.
I think it is because they depend on another job. So until that job finishes, they are set to manual.
I see. Okay, awesome.
How come we don't have our lines connecting all these together?
Oh yeah, were they removed?
I don't know.
Maybe they move because they're on these other views, aren't they?
I recall there was
I don't
a
know.
pipeline refactoring UI thing, so perhaps
Yeah.
the lines were removed.
Yeah, it's odd. They just like look like they're floating.
Oh well.
So in real scenario, you have to run the dry run as well, right? First of all. No.
No. So the reason we're doing a dry run here is just for an experiment prior to us actually doing this in production in real life. Just as a way to catch any future potential error scenarios that we may run into, I think.
All right.
Earlier I said that when all is said and done that we'll see this roll backwards, but because this is a dry run, we're not going to see this go backwards. How come no one corrected me?
I was confused about that. That's why I'm like, it's like, is there some kind of magic going on at the end of dry run? Just another question. And why do we have to drain the traffic to Canary?
So we want to make sure that infrastructure is in a known state during the rollback procedure. Our rollback procedure is only going to impact the main stage and not the canary stage. So if a change gets past canary for whatever reason and we deployed it to production, instead of trying to figure out how to do a rollback in canary as well, let's just drain it. That way it doesn't see any traffic at all. Doing so will prevent any version differences from showing up still after a rollback is completed. And then we could enable ourselves to utilize rolling forward in the future to go to Canary, re-enable that, validate the change is actually working as expected, and we could continue on to production again.
Okay. So the rollback will be just deployed to main fleet then, straight, right? I understand
Precisely.
correctly. Yeah.
Precisely.
Okay.
Okay, so this is just the clean job. Everything else has completed as desired. Nothing there. The pipeline has passed. So I think we're good to continue. So I think we're good. I guess before I enable Canary, is there anything that we want to look at, check, or discuss? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, same.
I'm pretty confident this was a successful test. So the warm up or the clean cache job just completed. It will skip, so that job works properly, just not the warm up, just fine. Do we want to play either of the two manual jobs?
We have never done that for the staging scenarios, so I'm not sure.
It's dry run, so I don't expect it to change anything anyways.
I guess then we can click them.
Let's do it. I'm doing it. I'll do them at the same time because they deploy at the same time.
Should we always execute those when doing a rollback?
No, I think this is what Alessio was trying to really get out there, is that normally if any issues happen that force us to do a rollback, usually it's the Rails code base and not the GitLab code base that causes the problem. So in this particular case, we made it a manual job because they are relatively good at being backward compatible with each other. So there's a chance of just speeding up the rollback procedure by simply not doing the GitLab jobs, which I agree with.
So we expect the gap between rollback and roll forward to be very minimal, right?
Yeah, usually just one package difference.
Okay. I mean the time-wise as well, right? I mean we expected to just deploy that changed fix quickly. Do we?
The quickly is a stretch. It'll probably take a solid hour plus to actually perform the rollback, but yeah.
Okay. And during that time, right, we won't have any traffic to canaries then. Like we will just take it out. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so the prefect job completed successfully. So now we're just waiting on the GitLab rollback, and I guess after this is completed, I could proceed forward with the re-enabling Canary and then just finishing up essentially. Did we disable auto deploy?
No, we didn't. It was added just in case we did
Okay.
it, but in this case we didn't.
Gotcha. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Job succeeded. So we have a successful dry run of our rollback procedure. Looks like we've got a few steps to adjust in the future, but overall things went well. So I'm going to proceed to enable Canary. And then in our job that we paused the post-deploy migrations, I will click the play button, or the retry button rather. And then that does not apply. So Canary is now up. That job is playing, so we're done here. Is there anything else that we want to discuss, chat about before we end the call?
Should we discuss the action items?
Let's. So Myra, you had the suggestion of ensuring that we maybe had a chat ops command perhaps to validate whether or not we have ongoing deployments. Would you mind creating an issue for that?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Should we always string canary? We decided that's always a yes. I will create a job, or excuse me, I'll create an issue to discuss removing the warm-up job from our rollback. That sounds informational. We need to add the Jupyter. And I'll create an issue to address the adding the prepare steps that Alessio brought forward into our rubbook. So I'll tackle the creating issues for these last two, and Myra, you've got the action to create an issue for that one. So
Sorry, do we need to do something about the check command that throw the wrong package, the first item?
Yes.
I'm not sure if it is, okay. Is it actually wrong? Because we do have, since we canceled the deployment.
Yeah, from a technical standpoint, it's not incorrect. I wonder if there's a better way that we could display that information since the upcoming was never completed potentially. I'll create an issue. We could have a discussion inside the issue.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think like, yeah, it's a good one to discuss. Like it certainly depends on who's going to be running rollbacks. Are they release managers or other people? So yeah, let's open an issue. That'd be good.
Yeah. All right. So Myra and I will create some issues, but as far as I know, there's nothing blocking us from continuing forward with our next actual rollback.
Amazing. Excellent. That's exciting stuff. What do you want to do with the deployment that we paused as well, Skellbeck? Do you want to just run the post-deployment migrations to get that completed? Super, great stuff. Amazing, very exciting. Big milestone.
Indeed.
Can you explain what's this retry post-deployment migration job? Can you?
Which job is that?
It says one of the steps is like retry the post-deployment migration. Why do we need to do this?
So in order to complete this test, we wanted to make sure we weren't going to block ourselves in the case that we had some post-deploy migrations. So we just simply told that job to not run in production. So that was just a cleanup test to make sure that we're ready to go for auto deploy continuation.
All right, thank you.
Cool. Is there anything else we want to chat about? Excellent. Well, I'm going to go inspect my bees. you all have a lovely day.
Yeah, nice work, everyone. Speak to you soon.